Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 setups for today. So massive move down today based on a missile strike coming out of Israel on Iran. Obviously, oil jumped on the news, and markets have panicked. Well, the Asian market has panicked, which has resulted in the futures market panicking. Anyway, I'm gonna just put couple of levels in, and one thing is for sure, I am glad I am not trying to figure out the market at the moment and been sitting on the sides all week. So let's just get the levels to the downside that we have bounced off. So we have bounced off 49.31, and just below that we have 49.09. 4900 is obviously the big zone of support, or the next big zone of support. Now, just a little bit of hindsight, which I only spotted this morning. Pin bar again. See the pin bar here on the 8 hour? This 55.8. So we were looking at 50.50, but didn't really pay attention to that pin bar because we had formed a range. And my thought process is really it's a range. We're looking for a break either way, a break and retest. However, you'll see now when we get down to lower time frames, we should have been paying attention to that pin bar. Now we just move across on the 3 hour. You'll see it's a 3 hour pin bar as well, and strong area of support there. Now it wouldn't have been in play until we started breaking below, and this here where we just below it, just above it, just below it, that is not really in play. But when we dropped below, came back, and yesterday there was a beautiful zone of selling there, and it actually worked out pretty well. In fact, early bird catches a worm, and if you're up really early this morning, you would have, and you had it in overnight, you would have made almost 1,000 points. So let's just get down to the hour and just relive that. You can see there's our entry. Granted, we did get a retest the day before, but that's going into the close, so always going to be retested. And we were looking at the bottom of the range, as you can see here, but that didn't really materialize. That wasn't what we should have been looking at. We had a massive pin bar on the 8 hour and the 3 hour. That's what we needed to be looking at. But anyway, that's something, the more I back test, the more I'm seeing that when you see those pin bars, you really need to take action, because the probability of something happening off that tail is immense. Now, this is war noise that is underway, so I wouldn't want to be jumping in on this just yet. We do have some structure. You can see a fairly decent buying structure here off 49.31 and heading back up. So you're probably seeing a 5,000 or a 51.4 is the level you'd want to be paying attention to. So that is the area that I would be looking for if we were to reject this area and move down. Now what you need to bear in mind is you've got gold up, gold up tremendously, oil's up tremendously at the moment. So the resources or mining that's going to be, mining stocks are going to be flying. You don't have much earnings today. There are a couple, but nothing to write home about. And then you've got quite a strong set of earnings next week. So, the moral of the story is still the same. It breaks above 58 at the moment. That would signal change of direction and looking for longs. And I would be paying very close attention to 51.4 for another leg down. And obviously the next leg down, you're going to be looking at 49.76, definitely 49.31, and then 49.009, and probably 4900 as your targets. So from a 15-minute perspective, have a look there, straight off that pin bar. We had a big engulfing bar here the day before, going into the close, and then we went into the close, and we just like going nowhere basically. But still, the moving average is below the 150 EMA at the time it tagged this pin bar, and then you can see a fairly decent engulfing bar. So there was a relatively strong opportunity there, about 150 point stop loss roughly, and just going into this area would have been 350 odd points. But if you'd moved your stop just to entry and left it, you'd be sitting at the moment with 800 points, and you could have had over 1,000 points. So fairly decent opportunity there. It's something that we just need to really pay attention to. Pin bars are very important. They're starting to become way more important than any other candlestick pattern at the moment for me, because that I'm seeing definitely rejections of those tails, whether they're to the top or to the bottom, and especially if they're on a higher time frame, there's always something happening around the pin bar. Okay, so for me right now, I think the wise thing to do is wait for the market to open, and I wouldn't trade this during the European market. I'd rather focus on the DAX during the European market. So 49.76 is your first area of potential rejection, and then you have this zone which for me makes a lot more sense. That's 5,000 and 5,014. So that's the area that I'd be paying attention to. Get a decent rejection here, pin bars first, inside bars, engulfing bars, double top type structures. That would indicate we have another move to the downside. Whatever you do, don't hold your trade over the weekend, because you never know what could happen. Over the weekend, it's like, oh, we're now turning to peace talks and there's a ceasefire or whatever. And then the market will respond Monday with a massive spike up like it spiked down. So don't hold it over the weekend. But there is potential to make some fairly decent money here. Sad that we have to make it off war, but I suppose that's the world that we live in. Anyway, that's kind of my view at the moment. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers for now.